Bayern Munich today just proved how good they really are. I said it before this game that I did not see a world in which Bayern Munich were going to lose this game. At worst, it was going to be a draw. And they won the game. And you can just be really honest and say that Bayern Munich could have scored more. And also, Real Madrid could have scored more. It was really entertaining and it was a fun game to watch. Arsenal's game was really technical. It was not the most entertaining, but we knew exactly what Arsenal were trying to do, which is just get a win or get a draw and go to the Emirates and finish the job. And they got their win, so it's a good one for them. But ultimately, I'm thinking about it that this particular game between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich today, the fact that it was 2-0 up at some point and Bayern Munich could have scored a number of goals to, finish the game at some points. But that Mbappé goal could really make it very interesting when they go to the Allianz Arena. Now, you would think to yourself that, Bayern are taking the lead into their own home stadium and definitely they should be able to get the job done. But it's Real Madrid. Whether they're home or away, Real Madrid always stand a chance. And the fact that it's just a one-goal deficit, they must feel really confident going into Germany. Obviously, I still think that Bayern Munich are the best team or one of the better teams in the Champions League right now. So I still will say that they have the advantage. But when you're playing against Real Madrid, do you really have an advantage? You can't really say. So I'm just going to talk about both games. I'm going to start first with Bayern Munich. And I'm just going to say that Manuel Neuer in this game was an absolute wall. This guy was perfect or almost perfect in this game. He made save after save after save. He was fantastic. And honestly, without him, I'm pretty sure Real Madrid could have scored about 4 or 5 goals. Like, he showed his quality. And mind you, this guy is pushing 40 if he's not already 40. I think he's 40 years old. So this is a goalkeeper that is still defying logic in terms of time. Now, we obviously know that most goalkeepers in general, they're always going to have a longer spell in the game. Goalkeepers are still really good up until they're like 38, 39, 40. But this is a goalkeeper that's showing his quality all the time. And yes, he has 1 or 2 injury problems or not, or here or there. But when he does come back and he plays football, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Probably one of the best goalkeepers in the history of football, if I'm being honest. Like, it's not even an exaggeration. I think everybody can see that he's one of the better goalkeepers we've ever had or we've ever watched. So today he was really good. And I think psychologically, he was a big problem for Real Madrid today because almost everything they tried, he was equal to it. The saves he was making, the way he was able to go down so quickly as well. These are the little things that just make him one of the best goalkeepers I've ever watched at the very least. He was fantastic in this game. So when you're looking at a player who's at the age of 39, looking so good and almost playing as if he's at his prime, stopping Real Madrid and making them frustrated in this game, you have to give a really good, round of applause for Manuel Neuer, in my opinion. He was fantastic. And to me, he's probably even the man of the match in this game. He was really good. When you now look at the goals, you just have to say that Bayern were a lot more sharp. I think they were sharper, but towards the end of the game, they were not as sharp when it came to finishing. They were not very clinical. But in general, this is a team that just looks like they're a well-oiled machine. They look like every part of the team, every position on the field, they just look like they have players who are really good. A solid 8 over 10 on any day. And you could just tell from that. They were sharper to get some chances. They were really quick in terms of making a lot of goals and all of that. And tactically, they were really good as well, and they were really sharp because we saw how they were able to capitalize on a Vinicius Junior mistake to get their second goal in this game. And, we saw Harry Kane dropping deep as we normally see, and Gnabry with his movements as well, Ulisse with his movements as well. Everything was just really good for this one. And, I mean, particularly for the first goal, we just look at how that one went in. The movement from every single player for that particular goal was really good. And Diaz, what a finish. Gnabry, what a perfect pass as well. That pass was absolutely perfect. And, just the way the Bayern Munich built up to that goal, you have to say that they were really good technically and tactically. And I think this is one of the reasons why I really think they're probably one of the favorites, if not the favorites, to go ahead and win this Champions League season. So, honestly, when you think about how tactical they've been, they were really good. Even the second goal as well, the movements, the way Pavlovic was able to just intercept the ball from Carreras and get the ball over to Michael Olise, who on his day is really good. I think he was unlucky not to score in this game. But, like I said, on his day, he's really good. Made the movements, got a really good pass all the way to Harry Kane. Harry Kane puts it in the corner. It was just a fantastic way of playing football. And so early in the second half, I think that must have destabilized Real Madrid and the fans as well. But you know what? when you're playing Real Madrid, it is never over until the whistle is blown. And yes, they've lost this first leg, but like I said, they still have another 90 minutes, whether it's going to be away or not. It's not really a problem for Madrid. It's still 90 minutes. And as long as you give them 90 minutes, they still have a really good chance. But the reason why I say they have a good chance was because Mbappé, despite the fact that he had a number of chances that he was not able to convert because of how good Manuel Neuer was, he was able to finally convert a good pass from Trent, who I honestly, as a Liverpool fan, I can't lie to you, I miss Trent. I genuinely miss Trent, but it's what it is. He's left, and then really good cross from him. You could just tell that when Bellingham came on, Madrid looked like they were able to just get the ball moving faster. Like Bellingham is a proper ball carrying midfielder. Like this guy was just running and running and running. And I think obviously because he's not been fully fit for a long time, I think Arbeloa is trying to be very careful with the minutes he gets. But I reckon that he's definitely going to start in the next game. I think in the second leg when they go over to Munich, he's going to start the game. But honestly, when he came on, you could see that things were a bit better. And then obviously they were able to score through a very good pass from Trent and Mbappe hitting it in. It went over the line clearly. When you see the goal line technology, it clearly went over the line. But, Manuel Neuer was still up to the task almost fully up to the task, almost saving that ball. So that one goal has been exactly what's going to give Real Madrid the chance to still fight for it. I think they were even unlucky not to score again in this game because they really were pushing and pressing, and you can see that they were looking like a team they looked like the team likely to score. Although Bayern Munich had a number of chances where they could have scored, but they were just not clinical. Like their passes were just off. The shots were just not great towards the end of the game, like in the final few minutes. They could have made it 3-1 or 4-1, and that would objectively have made it a really, really difficult task for Real Madrid when they go to Munich. So the fact that it's 2-1, I honestly think that, you never can tell. My final verdict on this game is Bayern are a better team. I think anybody who watched that game can tell that Bayern are a better team, and they're well coached, they're well drilled, everything about their football is really good. But Madrid just need a moment, like the one they got from Mbappe today. If they just get a moment in Munich, you never can tell. But I think it's going to be really difficult. They would have wanted to win this game instead of losing it. And the advantage is still for Bayern Munich, but, against Real Madrid, how much of an advantage is it really? So going into this next game, I still think Bayern are the better team, but now that, it's still just a 1-goal deficit, it makes it a bit more difficult for me to predict confidently that Bayern will go through. So all to play for in Munich, and I'm really excited to see that. But in the other game, we had Sporting CP go against Arsenal. Now, before this game, Sporting had won 17 straight games in their home stadium, and I mean, that's a really good run of form. They also beat PSG on the way to doing this as well. So this is not like, it was not like they were not playing against good sides. They beat Bodo Glimt, who beat Inter, who beat Man City, who beat Atletico Madrid. So, I mean, you're talking about a team that was able to dispatch Bodo Glimt 5-0 at home. Yes, it went to extra time, but they were still able to do it. So 17 games on the run, and it's over. They didn't draw. They even lost to Arsenal. For Arsenal, after the FA Cup heartbreak and the Carabao Cup heartbreak just before the international break, Arsenal needed to get a win in this one, and that's what they did. They got their win, and I think that's very, very good for them, because if they did not win this game, I think a draw would still have been fine, but losing this game would have done a lot of damage for them. Imagine what it would feel like losing 3 games on the bounce in different competitions. Yes, they still have the advantage in the Premier League, 9 points clear. I think, honestly speaking, this result was more important, not just for the Champions League, but going into the Premier League again this weekend. So the fact that they were able to get a win in this one was very good for them. Like I said, losing 2 games on the bounce in different competitions and being eliminated, it was very important for them to get a win today. Now, the fact that they've beaten Sporting away, I just think it's a matter of finishing the job when they get back to the Emirates. I think Arsenal is still the better side, like I said in my prediction videos. I said Arsenal were the better side, and I expected them to either draw this game or win. I knew that Sporting had a good record at home, but I was not expecting them to win. I don't know. It could have happened, but I still thought this is still Arsenal. They're still the better team, and I expect them to win this game. So honestly, I think it was very good for them. I think in the first half, you could see that Sporting really stood a good chance. They nearly scored. They hit the bar as well. But in the second half, you could tell that Arsenal were just a bit better. They looked more clinical. Not clinical, but they looked like the stronger team. They looked like they were the team who were going to score. And in fact, they did put the ball in the net. It was Zubimendi, and Gyökeres was just offside, so the goal was cancelled because you can't give the goal if it was offside. So very tight one, but it was the first warning sign to me that they were going to probably find a way to win this game. And talk about how they were patient in this game, because they waited till the very last minute. And I have to say that Martinelli's play for this goal was really, really good. Driving in from the wing and just making a fantastic, perfect pass to Kai Havertz. And clearly you could see that, the Sporting defenders were not picking up Havertz's run, and Havertz made a fantastic run and a fantastic finish to make it 1-0 for Arsenal against Sporting, and giving them the advantage going into the Emirates. So ultimately, when I think about this game, I think Arsenal have clearly stopped the bleeding. They've been able to stop themselves from going on a poor run of form. 2 losses, big losses, because they were going for a quadruple. At the end of the day, I still will say it all the time. I don't think Arsenal were thinking to themselves, oh my goodness, we want to win the quadruple. But when you get closer to it, you start to think, oh yeah, like it will be really nice. But objectively speaking, I don't think any Arsenal fan was thinking to themselves, oh, we want to win the quadruple before the season started. The goal was always the Premier League. They'd come so close for 3 seasons. They were like, this is the season they have to win it. And if they can win the Champions League, why not? And they're still doing well in the Champions League, and they have 1 foot in the semi-final. Now, I still think that they need to play really well. It's not a game that they can just ignore. I think they have to still do a really good job in terms of playing them at the Emirates and trying to win this game. I think it would be best for them to win this game, not even to draw it at the Emirates. So ultimately, I think it was a good result for them. At least they've stopped the bleeding, like I said. And the quadruple is gone, but, the 2 big ones are still very much on. It's still very possible for them to win the Premier League. I think they will ultimately go on and win the Premier League. But I think if they didn't win this game today, I would start to doubt their prospects of winning the Premier League. Because if you're losing 3 games in a row, then their heads will be going down. And, anybody could come and try and, take advantage of that. So ultimately, I think it's a good result for Arsenal. I expected it to either be a draw or a win. In fact, I have to say I'm proud of myself. This is one of the first times when my predictions have been spot on. So I'm hoping that Wednesday's games, Liverpool and also Barcelona's games, will also be spot on. But that's it for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. How well do you think Bayern have been Real Madrid? What are the chances of that game? Who do you think is going to go through? And also for Arsenal, do you think it's done? I think it's done. But let me know what you think in the comments. Before you leave, make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe. We have just crossed 400 subscribers. I'm so grateful for every single one of you who has been watching the videos and showing me support. We're on the road to 500, and then we're on the road to 600, and then on the road to 700, then 1,000, then 2,000. But we start with something. So let's get to 500 subscribers, and I'll really appreciate it if you could be one of those people who could join this channel. But before you go, like I said, please like, share, subscribe, and watch one of these videos, and I'll see you guys in one of these ones. I'll see you guys there. Cheers.